Hello YouTube, this is Wisps and Whimsy, and you're watching Starting Out Solitary. This is week 115, and we are talking about pagan pronunciations. So our topic this week is about how we pronounce pagan words and whether we think differences in pronunciation are important. And I will start out by saying, obviously you can tell I'm Southern, so sometimes the way I pronounce things is not how other people would pronounce them. So I think, there's regional variances and differences, and then there's actual misunderstandings of pronunciations, perhaps. So mainly I try to pronounce things in the accepted way just because I don't want to sound ignorant. And I don't know if you've been around YouTube for long, but I know there have been times where people have been trolled mercilessly because they mispronounced the word sachet. So, and Samhain is another one that it just, for some reason, people get fired up about it. So being aware of what the common practice is probably is important, especially if you're part of a specific group or tradition. But overall, I think more important than that is simply knowing what you're talking about, knowing your practice, doing it properly as opposed to just saying it properly. Because at the end of the day, I think that's really what we need to focus on anyway. But it's interesting to look. There's a website, this is Pagan Path, Popular Pagan Pronunciations, and I just Googled, how to pronounce pagan words or something along those lines, and this came up. So obviously it's something that we've all kind of wondered or talked about at one point or another. They very quickly point out there's no absolute or correct way to pronounce a word. You may want to go with the common pronunciation, but that, doesn't necessarily make you incorrect if you don't. And they included some examples and ways of pronouncing them. Like athame is one that for some reason trips a lot of people up. And a lot of this depends on where we got the word from. Paganism tends to borrow a lot from different cultures, different traditions, depending on what the original language perhaps may have been, or at least what we're trying to reconstruct from that. And so, depending on whether you're pulling from Celtic sources, or Anglo-Saxon, or Norse, or Germanic, or Spanish or Italian witchcraft, or maybe Creole/French influences, any one of those is going to help determine how a word should properly be pronounced. Where did it come from? And so, like for instance here, we have different spellings for the goddess Brigid, or Breed, I believe is how it's pronounced in the original Celtic. So those are just things to be aware of as you are trying to pronounce words if you want to do it properly. She, I believe is how we say this. It's another one that it's easy to get tripped up with Celtic word forms because it's so different from how we speak in English and the way we decode words. So it's interesting, and definitely even spellings can trip people up. But so yeah. Does it really matter at the end of the day? Nah, I don't really think it does. I just think it's good to know, and hopefully, I don't know about you, I just don't want to sound ignorant just for my own sake and to avoid trolls. But anyway, oh yes, and these pieces, these ACEOs that I have, this is Caradwin, which you could also pronounce Saradwin, because hard versus soft C. And this is the Greek goddess of ice. I believe her name is pronounced Khione. It's Khione. They were just both gorgeous pieces done by Emily Balavet, and I just wanted to share them because obviously there are different ways you can pronounce either one of those. So again, knowing this one's Celtic, knowing this one's Greek, just kind of helps determine how to pronounce those and their names. So I feel like you should probably pronounce a name correctly just for the sake of respect. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend or working weekend if that's what you're doing. And until next time, this is Wisps and Whimsy wishing you blessings.